He's to the plate with a pitch. Swung on, hit hard to right field. That ball is going to be gone.
Tune me into the ball game. Make the radio loud. Listening at home or out on the streets makes us wish we were there in the seats. And that's why whenever the Reds play, our radio knows what to do. It's at 700 WLW. We can't tune in the ball game. We can't find it at all. Where are the heroes we used to know? Where are our trusted friends Marty and Joe? Well, I guess they don't care about us, not the way that they said. So I guess we'll go to Kings Island for fun instead.
Where do baseball ticket sales come from, Mr. Schott? Well, they come from baseball fans who remember the fun and excitement of being at the game. And nothing keeps that excitement more in the front of their mind than the crack of the bat and the roar of the crowd. Television only covers about 1/3 of the games, Mrs. Schott. The vast bulk of baseball's excitement and immediacy comes from only one source: radio. Without the immediacy that radio delivers, baseball becomes no different than the amusement park, the water park, the movies, and concerts. A baseball franchise needs to involve its fans, and radio does that better than anything. Any reduction of that commitment will alienate fans and reduce ticket sales. 9 out of 12 National League teams broadcast their games locally on 50,000-watt clear channel radio stations. They know that this is essential to the success of the franchise, and they know the difference between 50,000 watts clear channel and 50,000 watts directional. The main reason the other 3 teams aren't on 50,000 watt stations is because they have no choice. Here in Cincinnati, the flagship station is even more important because, as you know, Mr. Schott, Cincinnati is the smallest market in the National League. Therefore, the Reds depend much more upon the out-of-town fan than the typical franchise. The Reds radio network can continue to succeed only if it involves both the local and long-distance markets equally. Why? Because fan involvement translates to dollars at the ticket office, the concession stands, and at the gift shops. For over 20 years, the Reds radio network has been based on a flagship station that is 50,000 watts clear channel. A change from that situation will not only upset a long-standing tradition, it will leave many, many loyal fans with little or no reception. This can only result in less involvement, less excitement, and inevitably, less attendance.
Where are you from?
St. Mary's, Ohio, 120 miles north.
What radio station you listen to the Reds on when you're listening to games up here?
Lima, usually, or WLW Cincinnati. We can reach them.
Could you say which one you listen to more?
Probably WLW, really.
How come?
I got my little radio turned to WLW.
Ada, Ohio.
Okay. You listen to Reds games on the radio?
Yep.
He does.
What's the
WLW.
from?
Bill Thompson, Terre Haute, Indiana. True Reds fan, though, all the way.
Yeah?
Yes, sir.
You listen to them on the radio?
Oh, yes, sir.
What
yes,
station?
sir. WLW, is that with Bill Cunningham? What station's that? Is
That's
that
WLW.
Yeah, yeah.
I usually listen to LW. I like Jim Scott and those guys. I think they're good. And the only one on LW I don't listen to is Bill Cunningham because I think he's an idiot, but that's all right.
These people were interviewed at random at Riverfront Stadium, and the things they said pretty much matched the results of a market research survey conducted last summer. Almost 1,000 Reds fans were interviewed. We've got a copy of the complete study available, but here are some of the results. Even though the Reds radio network numbers some 70 stations in 6 states, more than half of the ticket buyers from outside Cincinnati said that they listened to the Reds on the flagship station, 700 WLW.
I always have to put it on WLW because we don't have a local station to carry the game.
35.7% said they listened to 700 WLW because there is no local affiliate that carries the games. That's more than 1/3 of out-of-town ticket buyers whose only link to the Reds is 700 WLW.
Is there any other station around you that carries Reds games?
Yeah, WBNS. It's an AM radio station in Columbus.
But you listen
Yeah.
to LW?
Yes.
How come?
Comes in better. It's stronger power.
Even among those who do have a local affiliate on the Reds network, 21.4% said that they don't listen to the local station because they have trouble getting the signal. About half of the Reds ticket sales come from out-of-town fans, and most of them say they prefer and depend on our clear channel signal. What kind of dollars do these fans represent? We're talking about almost $4 million, and that doesn't even include revenues from concessions and souvenirs and parking. If any other station becomes the flagship, these dollars would be put at risk. Mrs. Schott, this is not just a long-distance issue. Even here in Cincinnati, stations without that clear channel signal have coverage problems, especially at night. WCKY, for example, is so directional after dark that it fails to cover a significant amount of the local listening area. Let's check this out. Now, Mrs. Schott, we're located in beautiful downtown Terrace Park at the corner of Elm Street and Given Road. We're surrounded literally by the homes of thousands of loyal Reds fans. Let's see how the Reds would sound on WCKY radio. Now let's try listening to the Reds on 700 WLW.
He looked like he hit a pretty decent pitch. Well, it was a changeup, and I felt like it might have been a little bit too hard. And
now, Mrs. Schott, I'm in downtown Milford, which is just east of Cincinnati, and of course at the foot of Indian Hill. The signal of WCKY radio is so directionally poor at night that any loyal Reds fan here east of Cincinnati in Milford would have a lot of difficulty just listening to the games. Now let's try the Reds on 700 WLW radio.
Most efficient, cost-effective system you need. And Charter's network of advanced fiber optics provides faster...
Clear as a bell. Part of the reason that WCKY has always had such lackluster ratings is because many people just won't fuss with an undependable signal. In every single demographic and in every single part of the day and night, WCKY's ratings trail dramatically behind 700 WLW. These numbers, by the way, are the ratings from this past winter when the Reds were not playing. Putting a winning franchise onto a losing station might help the station, but it can only hurt the Reds. Moving the Reds to WCKY would upset an awful lot of fans, especially those just to the east and west of Cincinnati.
Do you have a favorite radio station to listen to the Reds?
Yeah. WLW.
And why is it the favorite? I mean, do you have a problem getting all the rest of the radio stations in?
Yeah. Best reception. It's loud and clear.
Yes.
What radio station do you like to listen to?
Oh, the WLW.
Okay.
Really comes loud and clear. You can hear every click of that ball in the glove.
Do you,
Glorious.
can you get it on other stations sometimes?
Yes, you can get down other Batesville stations sometimes, but WLW comes so much clearer and so much, hear so much, you can see it.
I always get them through on even on my old radio. Well, WLW always comes through.
Very good reception here. We need that station. Makes us all happy when everybody can tune in on WLW and listen to it.
Even though Oldenburg isn't all that far from Cincinnati, some of the radios there can only get 700 WLW. 50,000 watts is an impressive signal, only when it's clear channel.
And we know how much we love baseball.
What if WKRC became the flagship station? Its signal is 5,000 watts daytime. That is 10% of the Reds' current signal. And at night, when so many Reds games are played, it lowers its power to 1,000 watts, 2% of your current nighttime coverage. For serving the essential out-of-town fan, WKRC simply is nowhere. You would have to add dozens of new affiliates just to begin to make up for the lost coverage. And if WKRC became the flagship station, several Reds games would be preempted by the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals are first in line at WKRC and will bump the Reds games off the air anytime there was a conflict, even during the playoffs and the World Series. If WKRC had been the Reds' flagship station this year, the Reds would have been preempted once in July, 4 times in August, 4 times in September, and once in October. The playoffs and World Series would surely mean even more preemptions. In fact, when the Reds and Bengals did share the same station in 1972, the Reds got bumped in the final game of the World Series. Surely, no one wants that to happen again. So far, Mrs. Schott, we've looked at this matter only from the point of view of the fans. But what about the behind-the-scenes issues? How would the Reds radio network sponsors feel about a flagship station that's suddenly heard only by a fraction of the audience reached by 700 WLW? Who wants to pay the same rates for fewer listeners? And what about the affiliates, who just last January gave us unanimous praise? They would be forced to go back to square one with an inexperienced flagship station. Operating the Reds network is a complex and precise job, and 700 WLW has performed it admirably for over 21 years. No affiliate has expressed a desire to start over. Dollars aside, Mrs. Schott, a move away from 700 WLW would confuse and disorient countless lifetime Reds fans. They don't know much about radio. They only know that Cincinnati's biggest team is on Cincinnati's biggest station, the big one, 700 WLW. The class act in Cincinnati sports is on the class act in Cincinnati radio. That's where it belongs. Any other flagship would upset the tradition, tarnish the image, and put many dollars at risk. Without 700 WLW, the Reds would immediately experience problems in signal coverage, sponsors rates, affiliate confidence, and the embarrassment of game preemption. We can only guess how deeply this would affect ticket sales. The long-term damage inflicted by those conditions just won't go away. Solving these problems will not only be very expensive, but some of the problems really have no solution at all. But remember, there are no problems like these today. The Cincinnati Reds and 700 WLW have enjoyed a mutually profitable and enjoyable relationship for over a generation. Throughout that time, each has been a major factor in the success of the other. The voice of the Reds belongs on a 50,000-watt, non-directional clear channel station, not just because it's good business, but because it's been a prestigious tradition that the entire Midwest has come to know and enjoy. We'd like to see that tradition continue and that success for a very, very long time. Well, there's an old saying that goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We think the wisdom of that saying certainly applies here. Or as one very wise and experienced business executive once remarked, sometimes it's best just to sit.
So that's why whenever the Reds play, our radio knows what to do. It's at 700 WLW.